This is Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related, and today I wanted to have a bit of a discussion with you all. I want to talk about the immense impact that the release of Cyberpunk 2077 has had for cloud gaming. We're currently sitting about a week and a half after its initial release date, and what a crazy week it's been for Cyberpunk. A title that easily fits the bill of one of the most anticipated releases for this previous generation overall. To put it into perspective, the game was announced way back in 2013, but we first heard about it during a CD Projekt Red summer conference in 2012. That means there's a very good chance it was probably in early development even before that. That's almost an entire decade. Just think about where you were 10 years ago, and it's had all that time to bake in the oven and create that hype that surrounded it. Sadly, it remains very clear that the title itself needed more time, and there were a lot of cutbacks based on what they promised us throughout that decade. If you're curious about the type of things that didn't get into the game that were talked about previously, well, I'll put a link to it in the description below for you to check it out yourself. But despite all that, I'm still having a great time playing the game, and it amazes me just how large in scope it is. I would even go as far to say that it's been one of the best games I've played all year. And yet, we have companies like Sony delisting the game from the PlayStation Store and refunding every purchase. We have retail stores like Best Buy going ahead and refunding anyone who bought a physical copy, be it the collector's edition or the standard. We have Microsoft putting a warning label right on the game store page on Xbox Live. And to top it all off, we have CD Projekt Red themselves offering a full refund to anyone who can't get it elsewhere. Now, to be clear here, this is for retail copies of the game. So just how bad is the last gen version of Cyberpunk 2077 to cause this sort of reaction? Well, honestly, I can't tell you from personal experience because I'm playing it through the cloud via GeForce Now and Google Stadia. But if any of this is actually representative of what it's like to play on last gen consoles, I think everyone in the cloud community dodged a bullet here. To be perfectly honest with you, there's only 3 versions of the game I would recommend anyone pick up and play. That's the PC version, which can be accessed via GeForce Now, the Stadia version, and the Xbox Series X port of the game. If you want to play on the PS5, PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, Xbox One X, I would highly suggest you wait for patches. And I'm far from the only person who thinks this is the case. We've had news site after news site, even big YouTube personalities speaking about how well the Stadia port of the game runs. And if you remember correctly, many of these same places and people were the ones to heavily criticize the gameplay experience Stadia brought to the table. And this is where we really get to the topic at hand. While I could sit here and just show the hypocrisy of some of these people and articles that were written about Stadia, I think it's much more important to focus on the amount of impact this title's release and their change of opinion has had on Stadia at large. For the first example, let's take a look at Google Trends, where we can see how much a search term is well being searched. Now, the way their graph works is interest over time, and it works on a scale from 0 to 100, with 100 being peak popularity. You can easily see that there's been a bit of a spike since Cyberpunk's release. It's currently rated at a 49. The only thing that beat it out is that huge spike on the left side of the screen, which represents Stadia's official release date. And that was at a point in time where pretty much every news site, be it gaming related or not, was talking about Google's entry into the video game market. Just think about it for a second. The release alone of Cyberpunk has caused half the amount of searches to happen for Stadia as a platform when compared to when it officially launched. The only other spike Stadia has had over the past 12 months that comes close is the April Stadia Connect. And that's when they announced that PUBG was coming to Google Stadia free for Stadia Pro subscribers and that they were going to be adding EA titles in the future. Additionally, this is where they showcased one of their first exclusives, Crata, along with many first on Stadia titles such as Ember and Wavebreak. Not only was this a purely Stadia-focused event run by Google themselves, but it also came after a period of drought where the platform lacked a lot of big releases. So for a lone third-party release like Cyberpunk 2077 to match the amount of searches for Stadia as a platform as a whole just by releasing on the platform without having any sort of crazy marketing deal with Google themselves is just insane. So where's all this extra traffic coming from? Honestly speaking, probably from the same people who wrote those articles heavily criticizing Stadia beforehand. To give an example, let's talk about a very popular YouTube channel that many within the Stadia community are probably aware of. This is Inside Gaming, and they have 1.37 million subscribers. They upload daily and cover all sorts of gaming news. That being said, they also had a reputation within the Stadia community for being some of the biggest haters out there. So when you have someone like Brian making the following statement, let's just say it may change quite a few opinions out there. Here, just take a listen to what he had to say.
As the
number
one Stadia hater on Inside Gaming, as the person who's written all the stories,
it's true.
I will freely admit I was wrong. It is Stadia absolutely deserves, again, if you have a good internet connection and it works for you, it is the best way for most people right now to play it if you don't have a high-end PC.
Now, if you want to check out how the rest of the conversation played out, I'll be sure to link it in the description below. Now, regardless of whether you agree or disagree with the rest of Brian's statement, it's very clear to see that his opinion on the platform has changed quite a bit. And we've seen multiple cases of this happen, not just on YouTube, but in articles as well. And when you have people with big followings like that, those people who respect their opinions and insights on products and reviews, well, their opinions will change too. Just take a look at this image posted to Reddit today by pjmccartney. It showcases just some of the comments being made under Unbox Therapy's videos, who has an immense following on YouTube. And let me tell you, as someone who's been here from the very start, it used to be extremely difficult to even see one positive comment under these videos. The fact that that's starting to change is nothing but a good sign. Google Stadia has always been the cool thing to hate, and many people who criticize it would always bring up subjects that just really aren't that big of a problem on Stadia. Interestingly enough, one of the biggest critiques that many of these articles and YouTube personalities pursued when talking about Stadia before Cyberpunk's release, well, it was the subject of latency, and many of them who claimed that it was just too high or not there yet, funny enough, aren't bringing up that same reasoning when talking about their time playing Cyberpunk on Stadia. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to tell you that it's a perfect platform. There are still certain hurdles that need to be overcome. But it's just funny to me to see all these little things no longer being brought up when talking about the subject. And just to be clear, I mean no ill will toward the people who were behind those articles or the videos that got made. At the end of the day, everyone has the right to their own opinion. I'm just glad to see those opinions start changing in a positive light for Stadia. Because when big recognizable names start changing their opinion, well, it's a bit of a domino effect, and those following right behind will start changing too. We're already seeing the effects of this start to take place, and funny enough, it's thanks to Cyberpunk 2077, a title that runs so poorly and was critically panned across the board for last-gen consoles, is the very same title that's getting people to check Stadia out just to play it. And personally speaking, I'm all for it. Either way, that's all I really wanted to say on the subject. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button, as it really does help the channel out. And if you're wanting more content like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video question is going to be asking you for your opinion on your experience with Cyberpunk 2077. Be it on Google Stadia, GeForce Now, or any other platform. Let me know your thoughts on the title down in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching the video. This has been Generation Stadia, giving you that daily dose of everything and anything cloud gaming related. The Gen S community is over 7,100 strong and growing by the day, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.